Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to our Saturday session. Very excited to be here with you today. My name is Ken George with Next Wave Designs. Um, I'm nobody. We've just hired some sales reps and gave them some direction and gave them support and let the numbers do the work for us. We've done 700, 800 demo apps in our back office before we even went out to go talk to the first customer. The thing I was most concerned with was, could we actually build an app? So the very first thing that we did was build 40 demos of different businesses in town, and that gave us the confidence to be able to get out there and go to work. So here we are today. And again, super excited to be here to go over this information. We're going to talk about creating urgency, which is super important when you're trying to close and make sales. We're going to talk about handling objections. Of course, that's another issue that's huge when you're trying to make money making sales. We're going to talk about setting up the closing as far as getting help when you're in that closing situation. And we're also going to talk about some movies for closers. In fact, if you're not familiar with this image that's up top, ABC, A for always, B for B, C for closing, always be closing. If you're not familiar with that, or even if you are, my suggestion to you is you write this down. The name of this movie is Glengarry Glen Ross. Hold on. There you go. Thank you, Liz. You see it now, don't you, Liz? Yes. All right. Well, then you know what? Hold on. Okay. So glad to be here with you all today. We're going to cover some really exciting information. This is our Saturday session. We're going to talk about creating urgency, handling objections, setting up the closing call when you need help in your closing. We're also going to talk about some terrific movies for closers. And if you're going to be out there in the world making money selling, you need to be familiar with the content of these movies. The first one I want to talk about is Glengarry Glen Ross. If you haven't already, write this down. Glengarry Glen Ross, old movie from 1992. Here's Alec Baldwin, and he's saying ABC, always be closing. A for always, B for B, C for closing. Always be closing. And it's so relevant what they're talking about. In fact, one of the reasons why I think it's so important to watch this film is that sales is sales. Whether you're selling a $2,000 vacuum cleaner, whether you're selling a cup of lemonade. Oh, how about the people that are outside? I mean, we're here in Florida, and up and down every street, you've got different groups that are trying to raise money doing car washes. So, they're completely trying to close complete strangers who are driving by to come in and take advantage of their services. So, again, it's a really neat film, and my suggestion is you get out there and you watch it right away. And when you see what those people are doing to earn a buck, and you look at selling apps, you're going to feel real good about the mobile app business. Okay, so as far as handling objections, really what you want to concentrate on is you want to stop objections before they happen. Now, over here on the right is how these are the things that we do to stack the deck in our favor as far as stopping those objections from customers. In fact, I had a guy call me just the other day in a panic, and he's just gotten started in the business, and he's got a new customer that he thinks is real hot for an app. And so he's telling me how the guy researched his company and doesn't want to do business with his company because he's not a member of the Better Business Bureau, and he's going on and on and on. And I said, whoa, just slow down a second. Did you said you said this guy is a really good prospect. You're giving me the impression that you're close to making a sale on this, but have you shown this guy a demo? Well, no, I haven't done that yet. First, I met with him, and we talked about the concept of having an app, and then on and on and on. And I'm thinking, no. the first thing that you do is you do a free demo app for every single prospect. What that is credibility. The mobile app business, our cousin, is the website business. The average person that makes websites in the website industry is someone who is a hobbyist and has done a few websites. So because it's a hobby, you'll hear people telling you stories about how they hired someone but they couldn't get a hold of them. They didn't get things done in any good sort of time frame, or maybe they gave them money and it just never ever even happened. A lot of business owners think that they can give $50 to their nephew and get a website out of it. Well, that's not necessarily going to happen. So what you're doing when you walk in the door on Monday, schedule an appointment to come back for Wednesday, promising to bring them a demo app, and then you walk back in the door on Wednesday with that free demo, that right there is credibility. Instantly, the fourth one down here on the list, do what you say, that puts you in the category of someone who is doing what you say you're going to do. Now, realistically, from start to finish on a typical sale, we don't have that much time with the customer. I mean, realistically, I'm going to schedule this appointment with a complete stranger. Or even if it's someone who, let's say we did an app for a school or a church, and then one of the parents of the school or the church, they have a business. And so they call because they're interested in getting an app. And then we go next door and we're talking to that person. Well, we don't know them from Adam, so we're going to spend 15 minutes setting up that appointment. Then we're going to come back for that appointment and hope to close them that first time out. If that whole time that you're there is an hour and a half, you've got less than 2 hours that you've known this person. You're asking for a check for $500, for $750, for $1,500. You're asking for a credit card. So you need to be someone that's credible. And the reason why, after, say, 800 doors that we've walked in as far as showing a demo app, literally, I know of 2 situations where people were asking about our membership in the Better Business Bureau. And really, those were 2 people that wanted to say no and didn't know how. And because they didn't know how to say no, they just thought of any old tired phraseology that they had stuffed up there in their brain. So you want to stack all the cards in your favor. What we did pretty much right away is after we, our first sales rep and we actually both went out in the very beginning and started walking through doors. Sold a bail bonds company, a website and a mobile app. $1,500 for the mobile app, $3,000 for the website. So there was our very first deal, very first week, and it was like, this is a pretty fantastic business. But what we did after that is we hired a bunch of sales reps who were all around the country. So it was important to me that if they were going to be out there on an island, in fact, they've never met me. The only training that they've gotten is through seminars like this. So what I want to do is what's in number 2. I want them to look the part. I want to make sure that my business is branded. And I want it to be consistent with my business cards, my pitch book, and my flyers. So at a minimum, I want my sales rep that I hired this weekend in Arkansas, when they go out into the field representing Next Wave Designs, or whatever your company is, I want them to have a business card. I want that business card to, of course, have your company information on there and be branded. This stuff doesn't cost very much. I want them to have a pitch book. Now, when we first got started, I used to print the pitch books up, and I went and got corporate pricing at Office Depot, which was really a smart move, so I can get color copies made for less than half of what they normally charge. And pretty much everything that I have to create for my business, whether it's this business or any business that I create, I'm going to have to make a pitch book. I'm going to have to make flyers. I'm going to have to make business cards. Now, you can go to Vistaprint to get business cards. However, when I've got someone that's starting brand new, I'd rather just go to Office Depot, and for like 15, 20 bucks, they'll print up 100 cards that you can have right away. So I set them up with a flyer and business cards right away, and then instead of printing up the pitch book, now we're hiring people that have got iPads or laptops so that they can simply download our PowerPoint, and when they go out there to see the customer, they have a business card, a pitch book, a flyer. They also have a free demo app. All of that stuff, when presented to this business owner that I just met, that allows us to instill confidence in them. That allows us to be able to get that credit card and get that check. That allows us to be able to have representatives around the country doing the exact same thing. So, of course, do what you say you're going to do. Number 5, you want to do if you're just getting started, or if you've only sold an app or two. The 5th one is telling you that what you want to do is you want to practice making demos, practice making apps before you go out there putting your reputation on the line, saying that that's something that you can do. So if you don't know how to make a demo app, or if you don't know how to make an app, go get into your back office and start one. When we first got started, we were using talent from Odesk, the letter O, and then desk. And we had reps that were in the Philippines and India, all over the world. We had people that were like, yeah, we've got experience with BA's platform, and we can do a demo app for you. And we've got people making us demo apps for $10, for $15, for $20 a piece. So when we first got started, the first thing we did before we even went and talked to a customer is we went and made 40 demo apps. Now, when we made those 40 demo apps, we just had to pick businesses that were all around town. We hadn't talked to those businesses or anything, but we just made them. The neat thing about it is when we finally did go start talking to businesses, because we didn't have any apps to show as our own apps for credibility, we were showing the demo apps that we made for these other businesses. So literally, on our very first sales presentation, we're saying, here's a demo that we did for the Ocean Grill. Here's their menu, their coupons. Here's their photo gallery. Here's this, that, these, and the other. Now, here's a demo app that we did for Dyer Auto Chevrolet. And here's where they have their inventory and their website and their social media. The neat thing about that is that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And literally, these people make assumptions. They know that business has all the money in the world. They know that having a mobile app makes sense. They're looking at the demo that you've shown them. They can see that it's awesome. Why in the world would the Ocean Grill say no to that? So literally, no one's asking us about our own credibility because we're literally giving it to them. The 6th one is you want to show a free demo app or demos from other businesses that you've done, as well as live apps, in addition to the free demo that you're showing to that business that you created just for them. The point is you're trying to show them the yin and the yang. We've had customers look at the demo that we did and say they hated it. However, they loved this one that we did for this other business. And whenever I show a demo, I'm telling them, listen, this is just one example of how we could do this. My goodness, we can have the tabs on the bottom, on the top, the left, or the right. We can have them on the bottom stacked 1, 2, 3, or 4 high. We can have it where there's no tabs at all. You just click a button in the upper left-hand corner, and voila. So the neat thing about that is, over the next 20 years that you have this app, it's nice to know that you can have it updated And in fact, right along with the service that we're offering, every year we'll go ahead and we will, one of the things that we're selling is every year we will reformat and just lay it out differently and give them a completely different look to their mobile app. Now, the number one way that you're going to go about the task of eliminating objections is by creating urgency. This point is so important, and I would imagine that 98% of the people that are out there selling mobile apps, this is something that they do not do. Now, when you ask the question, how do you create urgency? Well, I said, wait. Okay, here we go. Yes. So when it comes time to creating the urgency, what it's all about is creating a sales story. Again, 98% of folks that are out there selling mobile apps do not have a story. Without a story, you walk in, say, here is this demo app that we created for you. Isn't it great? Yes. Wouldn't you like to buy it? Well, maybe. Yeah, okay, I guess. Well, why? I mean, wouldn't you like to buy it today? Well, maybe I'll think about it. I mean, what's the difference between whether I buy it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year? So ask yourself. There you are. It's you. It's your prospect. You've got a beautiful demo, and you've got to pay the rent. You need this sale. They've got the money. The decision makers are in front of you. Why should the customer do it now? You've got to give them a reason. So the easiest way to do it is to create a sales story and stick to it. I'm part of a team of 3 reps that are opening up this territory. What we're doing is concentrating on these 8 industries. We're doing hair salons, car dealerships, tattoo parlors. We're doing hair salons. We're doing barber shops. We're doing electronic cigarette stores. We're doing ladies' clothing boutiques. We're doing these 8 industries. And because we're opening up this territory, we want to get our first 4 customers in each one of these industries. For those first businesses, the first 4 customers in each one of these 8 industries, what we're going to do is offer a discounted rate. Now, once the first 4 businesses in each one of those categories are identified, the price goes back to normal. So, for instance, I might go into a sales situation and my paperwork might say, we sell apps for $1,750 up front. That's going to cover the design, the build, the publishing of your mobile app, $1,750. But because we're looking for these first 4 customers in each one of this group of industries, we're offering you a discount, a reason to sign up today. You see, once we get those first 4 businesses in those 8 industries, that's 32 businesses that we have as reference points. So whenever Next Wave Designs opens up a new territory, this is how they do it. This way, when a customer says, well, do you have anybody else in this area? We can say, look at these 32 apps. When a customer says, blah, 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 look at these 32 apps. So that is why we do what we do. So in short, today, the price is $1,250. And that's what it's going to be for the first four businesses in each one of those industries are going to save $500. They're going to save $250. Since the beginning of time, as far as sales are concerned, offering an incentive for people to buy today is something that happens everywhere. Now wait, if you order today, you get a second set of steak knives. So order now. Same thing, folks. And you know why everybody does it? Because it works. So my suggestion is that you come up with a sales story that makes sense for you. Believe in the sales story. When you're doing your sales presentation, the neat thing about going out there and doing your first 10 sales presentations, I don't care how many you sold. I just care that you had the experiences, because once you get your sales presentation down, you don't have to think about what you're saying any longer. Now what you can do is you can concentrate on reading your customer's body language and asking those tie-down questions, preparing yourself for when it's time to close. Telling your story, it's a play. The fact that there's three of us out here when there aren't, it's just me and my partner has a full-time job. He works on the apps at night. I go out and do the sales during the day. But when I go out there and talk to my customers or potential customers, I let them know. Listen, the normal price is $1,750. It's $100 a month, and we would love to have your business at that price. However, in an effort to earn your business when I'm out here with you today, let me tell you what's going on. It's awesome. Literally, there's three of us that are out here working the Treasure Coast of Florida. The Treasure Coast is, I would say, from Sebastian, Florida, which is just south of Palm Bay, which is just south of Melbourne. So let's change that to the Space Coast. So that's going to be from Cocoa Beach down through Melbourne. There's three of us that are working this huge area where there's tons and tons and tons of businesses. And what we're doing is we're literally opening up this territory. And because we are, what we're doing is we're focusing on our first 5 industries: car dealerships, churches, hair salons, electronic cigarette stores, tattoo parlors. The idea is we want to get our first 3 businesses in each of these 5 industries. As soon as we do, the price goes back up to the $1,750. For those businesses, what we're offering in an effort to help us get started in this territory is we're offering you a $500 discount right off the top, and that's going to allow you to keep some money in your pocket that you can use now to start promoting your app. So we're not saying take that and go blow it in Vegas. We're saying take it and use it to promote your app. But as opposed to $1,750, which you can certainly get that price next week, next month, or next year, but in an effort to get you to do business with us today, we're looking to make this become a reality. So that being said, if you can get your customer to sign up today for that price, then everybody's happy. If your customer tells you that they want to think about it, well, we're going to talk about how you're going to deal with that here in just a minute as we start talking about handling your objections. So if you've been out there and you've made 10 presentations, these are things that you've heard. You see, in an effort to make your first sale, you're going to have to go out there and actually get 5 of your customers to tell you no. Now, when you look at this chart here, these are the things that can happen when your sales presentation is over. Your customer can say yes, they can say maybe, or they can say no. If your customer says yes, obviously that's the best thing that you would want to happen. But what are the 2 most desired answers when asking for a sale? Is it yes and maybe? Or is it yes and no? Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, the two best answers that you can hear when you're trying to make a sale is either yes or no. Because let me tell you what happens when you get a maybe. Let me tell you this story before, or what I'm telling you all to do is that you're going to want to tell this story when you're meeting with a customer and they're trying to tell you maybe before you leave. Here we go. Mr. Customer, I'm trying to sell you this magic marker. Will you please buy it today? Maybe. Oh, Mr. Customer, listen, if you're not interested, would you please just say no? Realistically, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. You know, realistically, as I was mentioning, where the three of us are out here talking to these businesses, to these businesses opening up this territory, I recognize that every single week I'm going to give 15 presentations to businesses showing them a free demo. Now, there's three of us out here, so every week there's going to be 45 presentations that are made to local businesses. Now, I know that some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say maybe, and some people are going to say no. But please, do me a favor. If you're really not interested, just tell me no, because I know we're going to see enough people to get plenty of yeses. So if you're not interested, just say no. And what are they going to say to that? Oh, no, 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 no. No, I'm interested. And I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. But again, let me just tell you a quick story about a customer that I had. Mr. Jones, nicest guy you ever met, was in the church 6, 7, 8 days a week. Super duper nice. And when I showed Mr. Jones his demo app and I asked him to buy, Mr. Jones said maybe. And when I asked Mr. Jones to please just tell me no if he wasn't interested, Mr. Jones said, no, 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 really, I just want to think about it. I said, okay, great. He said, just follow up with me next week, Wednesday. So I said, okay, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, Mr. Jones and I, we don't know each other very well, because if Mr. Jones, if he knew me well, then he would know the first thing about me is that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I follow through. And if you seem interested and then you tell me maybe and you tell me to come back, I'm going to come back. So you know what happened? I went back and saw Mr. Jones on Wednesday, and Mr. Jones wasn't in. So I stopped back 2 times later on that day because I'm out here working in this area, so I'm around. Mr. Jones wasn't there any of those 3 times. Now, between you and me, Mr. Jones was there. He was hiding behind the counter. So I called I didn't know he was hiding behind the counter. So on Thursday, I called Mr. Jones on the phone. He said he was there, but when he got on the phone and realized who it was, he said he had to go really quick. There was an emergency. I called back a couple more times on Thursday, and he wouldn't take my call. Supposedly he was busy. So on Friday, I emailed Mr. Jones. Over the weekend, I texted Mr. Jones, and when I ran into Mr. Jones again on Tuesday, the following week, in the supermarket, and I said, you know, that Mr. Jones and I didn't know each other very well, and I bumped into him at the supermarket, Mr. Jones didn't even remember who I was. When I reminded him, he was embarrassed, and then he finally said no, he wasn't interested. The long and short of it is, if you really are just trying to be nice by not telling me no, and instead you're just telling me maybe, really what's happening is you're wasting so much more of my time. Time is the most valuable thing that I have. So please, please, if you're not interested, just tell me no. Nope, Ken, I am interested. Great. If you're interested, then here's how we'll play it. You tell me the day, and I am going to come back here where I am standing right now, and you are going to tell me yes or no. And I'm telling you now that either answer you give is perfectly fine. Understand, people, that we're asking them in many cases to give us a credit card, and we're going to charge them $100 a month. So we're not selling a car wash for charity. This is a long-term commitment. So these people have got to mean it when they say that they're going to sign up and get an app. So let's talk about the objections that you might run into when you're out there and you're talking to customers. In fact, I'd like to hear objections that aren't on this list. But they sound something like this. I want to think about it. The price is too high. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that an app will benefit my business. Well, I'm going to build an app myself. Well, I don't think I should have to pay for this. Well, I want to talk to my website developer first. Well, I want some crazy feature that I just dreamed up. Well, I don't want it, and I'm not going to use it. So those are just some of the things that you're going to hear, as well as, can you get back to me in a month? Or the other ones that are haunting the young lady up top. But the list that's over here on the left, I just want to go through this list, and I'm going to start on the bottom, and I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to just let you know exactly what I would say if I was faced with one of these objections from a customer. I don't want it, and I'm not going to use it, the one that's at the bottom of the list. Okay? Awesome. Do you know anybody else around here that is interested in promoting their business? Do you know anybody around here that is interested in getting more customers and keeping the customers that they already have? Do you know any other businesses around here that you might refer me to? Awesome, because certainly this may not be something for your business, but obviously Starbucks is loving their app. Home Depot, they're killing it with their app. Every bank in town, every insurance company on television, every one of those businesses, they all love their apps. So moral of the story is, it's okay. You're not supposed to sell everybody. In fact, if you're a good closer and you're closing, say, 4 out of every 10 people that you pitch, that means you're going to hear 6 people tell you, I don't want it and I'm not going to use it. So when someone tells me no, I want to find out why, certainly, but that's perfectly fine. I'm down the road. The next one, I want some crazy feature that I just dreamed up. The reason why we don't run into this objection very often is what we do is we go in and we show them a demo app. Then we show them other apps that we've done. By doing so, and by showing them a range of apps, and by talking to them when we're looking at features, talking about other ways that you can do what we're looking at, what I find is that we are telling people what is possible in our presentation so that we don't have to hear them dream stuff up. An idiotic thing that people will do, and I shouldn't say it's idiotic because you just don't know. One thing that we reference in one of the other videos is our free demo call script. Folks, you got to do it. Memorize it and just go out and do it, period. And if you think you've got better words than the words that are in the free demo call script, please write them down and send them to me, and I will change the free demo call script to be the words that you write down, since your words are oh so magical. The words don't need to be magical, but the process that is outlined in the free demo call script is the same every single time, and it just takes care of some of these objections before they ever come up. So if you go into a sales presentation without a demo, without other apps to show, if you go into a business saying, hey, Mr. Business, are you interested in an app for your business? Well, sure I am, and I would like my app to communicate with the people on Venus. Oh, I don't think we can do that. I don't have those experiences, folks, because we're showing demos, we're showing the apps that we build, we have a presentation book, so therefore our customer might ask us about a particular feature if it can stretch and do a little bit more than maybe what we've shown, and sometimes the answer to that question is yes, it can. Sometimes the answer is no, it can't. But if my customer says, hey, can you let's see, with the mobile food ordering, can it clean the dishes? Well, no, it can't. However, restaurants are a very popular industry. Again, our platform provider has got 100,000 apps that have been published in the App Store. Restaurants are a very popular industry. So if a lot of restaurants are interested in a particular feature, we see that this is technology, and the one guarantee about technology is it will continue to evolve. Because technology will continue to evolve, it is completely understandable that between today and 2 years from now, there will be enhancements to the features and new features available to the very most popular industries. When we first got started 2.5 years ago, for instance, there was no mobile food ordering. Obviously, that was something that was created, and that got us real excited. The new golf scorecard. Again, there's another industry where something new just came out. The reservations tab. The real estate tab is another tab that is something that I have seen come out and is really, really exciting as far as the capabilities that are there. So by talking about those things, it's great when a customer has an objection that is, well, wait a minute, you guys don't have a feature that we're looking for. Well, hey, no problem, because you know what? We do have all of these things. And another thing you want to keep in mind, Mr. Customer, check this out. When you're talking about mobile apps, there's 3 different industries. You've got Angry Birds and Words with Friends, you know, all the different games and stuff. What people don't realize is those apps will cost $250,000 to build. You might have a little bad game for $25,000, but typically you're talking about $50,000, $100,000, $250,000. A lot of people don't realize that Words with Friends, that company, I think it's like Zynga or something, they did like, $800 million in revenue. So those games, like, that's no joke. Then you've got the industry that's like Bank of America, American Airlines, Home Depot, Starbucks, Applebee's, McDonald's. These are companies that are spending $250,000. I know the Texas State Fair spent $400,000 to get their app built. So that's what big businesses are spending. What we're here offering you, Mr. Customer, is something where we have a platform that's extremely flexible, that allows us to go and meet with any small business and literally be able to create a demo app for them that's going to have features that are going to be of value to their customers. That is huge that we can do such a thing for local small businesses for $1,500. When you think about the large businesses spending 100 times that, this is really a miracle. So let's celebrate the things that we do have, and of course recognize that as time goes on, 4 times a year, that's when we're supposed to have new feature updates and enhancements to the system. And I'm here to tell you, they've been creating new stuff like crazy. It's been more like 8 and 10 times a year as of late. So things will evolve, have no fear. The third one from the bottom, the objection. I want to talk to my website developer first. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do at that point is I'm going to relax myself physically. Like, instead of jumping down their throat, I sort of want to celebrate the fact that I've been able to show them something that they are interested in. Oh, and then I want to find information out about their website developer. Oh, awesome. Well, who is your website developer? How long ago did they do your website? What has that experience been like? if they're telling me that, oh, my website developer is horrible, oh, my website developer, they're hard to get a hold of, oh, I can't get them to make any changes. Well, when they tell me that stuff, I'm going to just throw that back at them, again, not in an aggressive manner, but I'm going to come back with them and say, now, let me ask you this. Your website developer, you said that they've been your developer for 5 years. Well, mobile apps have been out for about 6 years now. Don't you think if they did mobile apps that in the last 5 or 6 years, don't you think they would have reached out to you to show you what they had? Don't you think that they would have offered to make you a free demo like we did? I mean, the reality is most website developers do not build mobile apps. Most website developers develop websites. And if this is the situation that I'm in, I'm going to tell them, look, we do websites, but I mean, certainly that's not something that we do every single day. And as far as that's concerned, if I want to have if I want a salad, I'm not trying to go to McDonald's and order a shrimp salad. If you get a shrimp salad at McDonald's and things don't work out well for you, you only have yourself to blame. If I want a steak, I want to go to a steakhouse. I don't want to get sushi at a steakhouse. I want to get sushi from a sushi place. So when you're talking about getting a mobile app, the reality is that the majority of the stuff that's out there that's available is either way too expensive, way too unreliable, or it's just garbage. It's just trash. So, seriously, if you guys are interested in a demo app, we can have this thing put together for you, and I'm just going to assume the close again and dismiss their website developer until they literally put their hand in my face and tell me no, that they're not going to move forward. Here's another thing. When I get an objection from a customer, really the first thing I want to do is I want to clarify the objection, and I want to isolate the objection. I want to talk to my website developer first. You want to talk to your website developer first? I don't think I should have to pay for this. You don't think you should have to pay for this? Why is that? Tell me more. Tell me more of that thinking. Well, the way technology is, like Facebook is free and, Twitter is free, so I think this should be free too. Got it. Well, with Facebook and with Twitter, those are things that are covered up with advertising. Again, those people are doing billions of dollars in revenue in advertising. That's why those tools are free. When it comes to mobile apps, let me explain how that works. And the way I'm going to explain that, right here, bottom left-hand corner, feel, felt, found. So the customer says to me, man, I thought an app for our business should be free. I agree. I know how you feel. Oh my gosh. I felt the same way. When I first found this industry and discovered mobile apps, I felt the exact same way. You know what I found? I found out that Starbucks spent $250,000 on their app. I found out that Domino's spent $1 million. Have you seen the commercial where Domino's, where you can order, you can talk to the app to order? That's $1 million just for that feature alone. Can you believe that? When I found out that game Words with Friends, that company does $800 million in revenue a year, I was blown away. So I agree with you. Feel, felt, found. What happens is when you agree with them by telling them that you know how they feel, they like you. People like people that agree with them. When you explain that even though you felt that way, now you feel a different way, you're basically telling them that they're wrong And it's okay that they were wrong because you were wrong too at one point in time. Feel, felt, found. I'm going to build an app myself. Wow. You're going to build an app yourself? Really? Yep. I know there's programs out there where I can do it. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Customer. Have you ever, do you do Photoshop? Do you know Photoshop? Photoshop is a professional tool. Like, I mean, since I'm 47 or 48 years old, I think. And I think I'm 48. And when I was 15 years old, literally, when I was 15 years old, I had experiences like, hey, Ken, you want to go paint a house? Sure, let's go paint a house. I went and painted the house, and I screwed it all up. You know why? Because I'm not a house painter. Hey, Ken, it was hysterical. We started a window cleaning business. The very first job we did, I told my buddy I would help him finish. I didn't want any money because my arms were killing me, and I didn't want to do any more window cleaning. When you tell me that you want to build an app yourself, I think what you're telling me is that you want to save money. But the reality is this. If you don't have Photoshop, you're in trouble. When I was 15, I literally started my first business, had to make my first flyers and stuff like that. It was amazing. However, when you're actually using Photoshop, that is a completely different level of design than what you can do with, say, Microsoft Publisher or Microsoft Word. If you don't have Photoshop, in order to build an app like what I'm showing you, you're literally going to have to go to to Office Depot. You're going to spend anywhere from $200 to $2,000 to buy Photoshop. Because it's a professional tool, if you want to learn Photoshop, my suggestion is you go down to the community college and take a class. Take like a 2-month or 3-month class to learn the basics of Photoshop. Once you do that, you'll have an idea of how to do the imagery inside of your app. Do you still want to go build an app yourself? If you have a customer that you're walking out the door and you fought with them on this concept, but this is what they're sticking to, I can make 2 guarantees. Number 1, your customer does not want an app. Number 2, if you come back in 6 months, your customer will not have an app. Bottom line. We literally paid, about 3 years ago, we paid $2,000 to have a guy paint our house. I had talked to my neighbor about the two of us getting together where we would paint my house, then we would paint his house. We were going to do that and try and save some money. The problem is we didn't know what we were doing. And when I talked to a painter and I said, so if you were going to paint my house, what would you charge and how would you do it? He said, well, first I would pressure wash your house. I said, okay, you can stop right there. You've got the job. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I was going to do it myself with my buddy up the street. We were going to do each other's houses, except I was going to go out there maybe with a broom and an air blower. Maybe. And then I was just going to slap 1 or 2 coats of paint on the house. Honey, I'm done. Dude's like, if you would have done that, it would have peeled off inside of 2 years. It would have doubled the price because I would have had to come out here, strip everything off, and then do the whole job that I would have done. The bottom line is I only do what I do, and if I don't do it, I don't do it. I almost killed myself trying to change a fluorescent light fixture. The wife is like, do it now, do it now. And I'm like, no. She's like, do it now. And I'm like, fine. So I go and I buy the fixture. I come back. I take the old one out. Then I take the 2 wires and I push them together. I blow the breaker. I zing my fingers. I could have killed myself. I had no idea what I was doing because I don't do it. You're not going to build an app yourself. Ha! Goodness gracious, when I started this business, we hired professionals to build our apps, And not only did we hire professionals to build our apps, but it was a year and a half before I built my very first app, and we've got 100 apps that we've sold. So let that give you some perspective on how simple it is to go out there and build your first app. Next objection. I'm not convinced that an app will benefit my business. That's hogwash. The fact that Home Depot, Lowe's, the fact that Starbucks, every bank in town, that's why in my sales presentation I've got tons and tons and tons of logos of all of these national businesses that have apps. The fact that they've spent $250,000 on an app means that it is a fact that a mobile app will benefit any business on the planet. Period. How much will it benefit you? That's a whole nother thing that we can debate. Now, you may not want an app, and if you don't want an app, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But don't tell me that you want an app, you just don't think that it's going to benefit you. Understand? So that's how I want to take that conversation. The price is too high. When I get that objection, what you need to do to get that answer, because it's way too long, is you need to go back to our website. You need to listen to the sales presentation that we do on there, because I go through an entire probably 15 or 20-minute exercise on price negotiation. So please go and do that. When a customer says, I want to think about it, the way I respond to that is physically, I relax my body so that because most communication is nonverbal. Because most communication is nonverbal, I want to nonverbally tell my customer that I am agreeing with them and I am going to allow them to think about it. That is the message that I'm trying to get across by relaxing, putting my pen down, maybe putting my laptop into my bag, that sort of thing. But I want to come back with that. I want to think about it just sort of nonchalantly. Oh, is that right? You want to think about it? See what they say. What is it that you'd like to think about? Well, I want to think about this. And I write it down. Huh. You want to think about this? And then they'll say, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'll take some notes. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to think about? Yes, I want to think about this. What else is it that you'd like to think about? And basically what's going to happen is I want to write every single objection that they have down on a single sheet of paper. And when I have them written down on that sheet of paper, I want to deal with them individually. So it's very important that you identify the objections. It's very important that you clarify the objection. You do not want to answer a question or an objection until you understand what the question is. Many times when closing, a customer might say, hey, I'd like to go ahead, can I earn your business when I'm out here with you today? Well, no, I want to think about it. Well, what is it that you want to think about? Well, I want to think about the money. Okay, well, what part of the money is it that you want to think about? I can't afford, oh, here it is. I can't afford it. The price is too high. You can't afford it? What part is it that you can't afford? Well, you're asking for $750 today, and I can only write you a check today for $500. Oh, so you're not saying that $1,500 is too much money. You're saying that writing me a check today for $750 is too high. You can write me a check today for $500, a check when I come back in 5 to 15 days for $500, and you can write me another check for $500, 2 weeks after that. Oh yeah, I can do that. I mean, that is a literal situation that we had to go through to understand. The pricing that we're talking about, you're talking about $1,500 down, $100 a month. You're talking about $750 up front. You're talking about $750 in 5 to 15 days. You're talking about how it's $50 if they want to republish it later on down the road. You're talking about all these different things. So when they tell you that the price is too high, you better understand what they're talking about before you try and solve it. Because I know what you want to do. You want to say, oh, well, if I took $200 off, would that be okay? That's not what they were saying. So now you're giving money away for nothing. This one over here, can you get back to me in a month? We had this happen. It was a restaurant. They had 4 locations. Sales rep was meeting with the marketing person. So they're sitting there talking about all kinds of things. Doing one app that's going to cover all 4 restaurants that are 4 separate restaurants. Doing 4 separate apps. They're talking about, negotiating pricing. And the lady says, you know what, can you just call me back in, I think she said, can you call me back in 10 weeks? And the sales rep said, why? And she said, because our marketing budget money is spent, and that's when we're going to have our money again. Sales rep said, sure, I'll write it down. I'll call you back in 10 weeks. In fact, what I'll do is I'll get back with you in 8 weeks. That way we can get everything planned so that when your money comes in 10 weeks, you can just do whatever it is that you want to do. And I literally, the sales rep then left, and I literally lost my mind at that point. And I literally said to the sales rep, here is how you should have handled that. You should have said exactly, hold on. Okay. So I want to say to that customer that's telling me that story, awesome. So is the only reason you want me to call you back in 10 weeks, is the only reason you want me to do that because you don't have your money for your budget until 10 weeks from now? Yep, that's the only reason. Awesome. Let me ask you a couple questions. When I come back in 10 weeks, are you guys going to be doing one app for each location? Yes? Okay, let's just go ahead and figure out what all the money is going to be right now. That way we know when we come back later on exactly how we're going to deal with this. All right, great. So because we're doing 4 apps, instead of doing $1,500 a piece, we're going to take it down. We're going to do them for $11.75 each. The $100 a month is going to go down to $82.50 each. And this is what we're going to be doing. Okay, awesome. Now, let me ask you this, Mrs. Customer, because you're telling me that 10 weeks from now, that's when you can write a check to make all this stuff happen, correct? That's correct. And the only thing that's holding you back is that money coming in 10 weeks, correct? That's correct. Well, you know what? If that's the case, let me ask you this. If I could, then would you? If I could do this, would you do this? This is what I would suggest, Mr. Customer. Having a mobile app is not intended to eliminate your advertising. Having a mobile app is intended to make your advertising better. Because it's going to make your advertising better, you actually want to have your apps completed, because once everything is approved with Apple, we're going to be getting your QR codes. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have your QR codes for your published apps so that before you have your money available. So that once your money is available and you start spending your money with the 8 different ways that you advertise these businesses, you're going to be able to say, hey, here is my mobile app, put this into my advertising, put the QR code in there, etc., etc., etc. As a marketing person, you can certainly see the logic in that, correct? Absolutely. So then here's the deal, Mr. Customer. It's going to take 5 to 15 days to get these apps built. And because there's 4 of them, literally, now really, I could still get 4 apps done in 5 days. I wouldn't be worried about that, but I'm telling a story right now. So, Mr. Customer, it's going to take, I would say, to get all 4 of these things done, that's going to take about 4 weeks. Now, at the end of those 4 weeks, then we have to get them published with Apple. You see, let's say it's 4 weeks and the apps are published with Android. Then it's going to take another 1 to 3 weeks for everything to get published with Apple. So even if we start today, we're talking about 7 weeks from now for you to get your QR codes. And literally, what will happen to you is you are going to run into a business that is a brand new restaurant. It's still under construction. And they're going to say to you, awesome, we're going to be opening up in about 3 months, and we are absolutely interested in an app. We just have to do other things right now, like get the menu done and get our signage done, and on and on and on. Mr. Customer, I'm so glad you said that. The reality is, when you do your menus, you're going to want to have your QR codes for your apps in your menu. You see, when you have the app, the definition of an app is your business living on your customer's smartphone. Because that's the case, by promoting the app, you're promoting your business. So restaurants will literally have table tents that are promoting the app. They'll have signage up on the t-shirts, on the hats, on the menus. You'll have QR codes. So, Mr. Customer, my suggestion to you is that you do exactly what we're talking about. You get this mobile app, but let's go ahead and get you set up with that mobile app today so that we can get everything done and have you in position to be successful. Doesn't that make sense, Mr. Customer? And for that restaurant lady with the 4 apps, what I would have said to her is, let me ask you this. If I could set this up today where you write me a check for $500, we don't charge you another penny until 10 weeks from now. At that point, you write me a check for whatever the balance is of everything over here that you owe me. However, we're going to get your app started today. That way we can have your QR codes at the 7-week mark, and you can have everything ready to incorporate into all of your advertising. Because I'm sure with a lot of your advertising, you guys designed the layout and everything 6 months ago. And you're just going to write them another check and do the same ad. Well, now that you've got now that you have the mobile app, you're probably going to want to reformat that. So I'm really glad that we're having this conversation today. I'll take a check for nothing today. I'll take a check for $300 today. Understand that this particular business that we were talking about, these 4 restaurants, 2 of them are right on the Intercoastal Waterway. 2 of them, like literally there's a marina right there. These are not shabby businesses. These businesses have been there for a long time. They're not going anywhere. And if they sign a piece of paper, if their marketing person signs a piece of paper saying that they're going to give me a check for $500 today, and they're going to give me a check for $5,000 10 weeks from now, then guess what? That's exactly what's going to happen. So Again, when you're talking to your customers, you want to be able to define the objections. You want to be able to identify the objection. You want to be able to isolate the objection. Once you find out what the obstacle is to a sale, you want to know, Mr. Customer, aside from the length of my hair, aside from the stench of my bad breath, aside from the color of my car, are there any other reasons that are keeping you from signing up with us today? Nope. Ken, the only reason we're not signing up is for these 3 reasons. Now that you know what the issue is, deal with it. So let's talk about a very, very, very important point, and really the last thing we're going to talk about today, and that's setting up that phone call. You know, I've worked for companies before where I'd get in the car and drive 45 minutes to get to my sales appointment, and when I got there, the customer would say, hey, Ken, the office called and they had a message. They said it wasn't an emergency, but before you got started, they wanted you to call up and let them know that you got here. They had a message for you. Again, not an emergency, not life and death. Oh, okay, sure, I'll give them a call. Folks, that was on every single appointment that would happen. I'd call into the office. Hey, this is Ken. Oh, hey, Ken. Are you at Mr. Jones's house? Yes, I am. Is the husband and the wife there? Yes, they are. Okay, we don't really have a message for you. Good luck. Call us if you need help at the end. We'll talk to you then. All right, goodbye. All right, thanks for the message, Mr. Jones. And the code was 3250. That was the information they needed. Okay, thanks. We'll talk to you later. Okay, bye. And then it was time to start my presentation. The reason they did that is they knew it was going to take 45 minutes from start to the end for me to do my presentation. They knew that before I was able to leave that house, they were going to get on the phone and offer the customer a total of 3 price drops. So we might be there, and I might be saying, okay, the price is $8,952.35. But because of this first day discount, we're going to take $253 off. That takes the price down to here. Can I earn your business? No, Ken, that's too much money. Okay, great. Let me just let the office know what happened here today, and we'll wrap everything up. Hey, office, it's Ken. I'm here with the customer, and blah, blah, blah. And they would say, oh, okay. Well, tell me this. Did they like the product? Oh, yeah. They really loved the product. They like this about it. They like this about it. They like this about it. The problem is the money. You see, at $8,000, I gave them a price of $8,952.33. And then I talked to them about the first day discount, which took it down $253. That gave us a price of blah, 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 blah. And at that price, they just said it was more money than they had anticipated. What? What's that, Mr. Person on the other end of the phone? What's that, Mr. Person at the office? Well, I'll ask him. Hey, Mr. Mayo wants to know if he could do something better on that price if you guys were still interested in getting the XYZ done. Well, they want to know what you have in mind. Yeah, let me get a pen and a piece of paper. Hold on. Okay. Uh-huh. You guys will do... Okay. Really? Oh, when is that supposed to start? That starts the first of the month? But you guys will let them have it. So what? Okay. Awesome. Listen, I think they're going to like this a lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this information by them, and I will let you know what they have to say. Okay, bye-bye. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you are not going to believe it. I just talked to Mr. Mayo on the phone, and he was telling me that next month we have a brand new advertising campaign that's backed by the manufacturer, where the manufacturer is going to be giving us extra dollars that we're going to be able to put into our marketing efforts. Well, our company is committed to word-of-mouth advertising being the best way to promote anything. So because that's the case, what we want to do is pass that along to 8 customers next month. And what they said is, because you were so nice on the phone earlier, that they would see it, that they would take $500 off the price today if they could earn your business, and we're using it from that marketing campaign for next month. Do you think that's something that you'd be interested in, Mr. Customer? And whether they said yes or no, I'm calling back to let them know. And if the customer said no, I'm going to put Mr. Mayo, the person on the other end of the phone, I'm putting that person on the phone with the customer. By putting them on the phone with the customer, they're going to give it one last-ditch effort. The reality was, these were leads that were generated by telemarketing. And because they were generated by telemarketing, they cost a lot of money. And because that was the case, literally, they wanted to make sure that every effort was exhausted to get that sale. It's the same as when you go on a timeshare sales presentation, and there's a lot of people that buy in stage 1, there's a lot that buy in stage 2, in stage 3, in 4, and in 5, and that's why they treat every customer the same. So when you run into a situation where you've got a customer that asks you questions and you don't know the answer, if you're the sales rep, then you've got a boss you can call. You have a partner that you can potentially call. Maybe you can call business apps on the phone and get support on the phone. Certainly, when we hire our salespeople and we put our salespeople out into the phone, then they are calling me. So I am telling my salespeople, number 1, before you call me, identify the questions that you don't know the answer to, or that you don't want to answer. Catch that, people. You might know the answer to the question, sales rep, but for strategic purposes, maybe you want me to answer the question. I've got a sales rep in Richmond, Virginia, and she would call me on every single sales call. For the first 7 sales calls, she needed my help. On the 8th one, she didn't need my help, but she called me anyway. And when I asked her why she called me even though she didn't need my help, what she said is she likes to call because it plants a seed in the mind of the customer that the people that they're writing a check to, the people they're giving a credit card to, is bigger than just her. The last thing that's down here on the bottom, we. You might be the only person in your business. It might be you and a partner. It might be you, a partner, and one other person. Whatever it is, always talk about your business as we, us. She's giving an impression to that customer that we have an office with a secretary, with managers, with technicians, with a janitor, with a parking lot, with a break room and a microwave and a refrigerator. And if that's the impression that the customer has in their mind, allow them to have that impression, even though I work out of my house. So, you may not want to answer the question, so you want to still write it down. If you don't know the question, write it down. Now, before you make the phone call, third thing on the list, look around and understand what's happening in the area that you're in. Are you going to make this phone call and do it on speakerphone? Are you going to put me directly on the phone with this person, sales rep? That's going to be determined based upon the environment that you're sitting in. If you're in a room and you're the only 2 people in the room, put me on speakerphone. If you're going to put me on speakerphone, don't start out that way. hey Ken, I'm sitting here with Mr. Jones, and he had some questions. Is it okay if I put you on speakerphone so you can answer those questions? Awesome. The next thing, you want to give a summary to the person on the other end of the phone. Understand that when you're giving that summary, there's more to this call than meets the eye. This is a performance. The entire call is for the benefit of the customer. This is what I want my sales reps to do. Hey, Ken, and I'm going to have them do this. The reasons are if they need a price drop, if they've got questions, or more, maybe they just want to give credibility to themselves. Maybe the sale's already made. Maybe the sale is already made, and before they leave, they just want to show the people that there's more to this company than just them. So here's how it's going to go. Here is my sales rep calling me, Ken, the owner, the manager, whatever it is. Hey, Ken, this is Joe. I'm out here with Pete from Pete's Barbecue. You remember you guys made that demo app for us? Well, let me tell you something. I showed them the demo, loved it, nailed it. They absolutely loved the demo. And let me tell you what they liked the most. They loved the picture that you used. This is why. They loved the photo gallery. This is why. They also love the fact that you've got that contact form in there because they've been trying to get information from their customers and feedback from their customers for quite some time. So they're super duper excited about that. Now, the reason that I'm calling you today, Mr. Ken, is because we went ahead and went over the pricing. And when I explained the pricing, the $1,500 and the $100 a month, and I told them that we could do a special for them because they're going to be one of the first 3 car dealerships that we're doing in the Milwaukee area, they really loved that idea. But what they were saying to me is taking that price from $1,750 down to $1,500, putting them in a position of doing $750 up front today, it was a little bit more than what they had anticipated. I told them that if we could set it up where they wrote us a check for $300 today, $300 when we come back in 5 to 15 days with the completed app, and then once we start charging their credit card, once it goes live for Apple, that we charge them not only the $100 a month, but we then take that $300 that they still owe, and we put that on top of that $100, and we do that until it's paid off. Once it's paid off, it drops back to the $100 a month. I asked them if we could set the payment up that way, if we could earn their business while I was out here with them today. And you know what they said? They said that would work. So I'm calling Ken to see if that was something that we could do to earn these people's business while I'm out here with them today. Okay. Yeah, I've got a pen. Sure, let me write this down. Hold on. All right, go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't think they're going to have any problem with that whatsoever. Sure. Okay, I'll tell them right now. Okay, I'll tell them before I hang up. Hold on. I'm sorry, this is a little corny, but he likes me to do this before I hang up the phone. I would like to just welcome you to the Next Wave family, okay? Welcome to the Next Wave family. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, yeah, I'll send all the customizations over later on. Yep. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, bye-bye. Okay. I just got off the phone with Ken in the office, and literally he said that would be fine. He said there's just a couple of stipulations. For us to be able to go ahead and do that and not charge you any interest or anything, what we're looking for in return from you is we would like to get 3 referrals. Now, I don't want 20 silly referrals. I would like 3 referrals where you're actually going to have 3 business owner friends of yours that are willing to take a look at a free demo. They don't have to buy. They just have to be willing to give me 15 minutes. We'll make them a demo, show it to them. If they want it, great. If they don't, who cares? But we would like to get 3 referrals. We would also like to have a letter from you 60 days after your app goes live where you're telling us how it's had a positive impact on your business. That's going to help us in our marketing. Now, is that fair enough, Mr. Customer? It is? Great. Well, I've already welcomed you to the Next Wave family, so let's go ahead and start writing down all the different customizations that we're going to be doing for your app. That, from start to finish, is how you do a call to get help. So make sure that you are training your customers to do so and doing so yourself. Okay, we're pretty much done. I want to wrap things up by telling you that if you're in sales or if you've got salespeople that you're hiring, either way, there's a couple of movies that you need to watch. One of the movies is called, is right here. It's called Boiler Room, and it is awesome. And this is a quote from that movie. There's no such thing as a no-sale call. A sale is made on every call you make. And I've heard it a little bit differently, in essence, that there is a sale made on every call that you make, and the idea is either you're going to sell the customer or the customer is going to sell you. So you want to keep that in mind. But definitely, as a closer, this is a movie that you want to see. It's just going to help you as far as gathering that mindset of a closer. And then this is a movie that if you're going to call yourself a closer, if you don't know what this stuff means, sorry, you are not a closer. The name of this movie is Glengarry Glen Ross. Glengarry Glen Ross. This is the #1 closer movie on the planet. If you're going to go out into your business community and walk through 60 to 100 doors every week in an effort to set up 15 appointments so that you can actually have 10 presentations and actually then make 2, 3, 4 sales every single week, if you're going to do it, if you're going to teach someone to do it, if they're going to do it, all of you literally need to watch this movie. First, they had a sales contest in this movie, and if you want to talk about hardcore, this is hardcore. First prize, Cadillac Eldorado. Second prize, a set of steak knives. Third prize, you're fired. Ha! This one here, put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers. I am telling you, when you watch this movie, you will replay these scenes and watch them over and over and over again. Excuse me for being crude, but if you can't handle this crudeness, you're not going to be able to handle sales. In this scene where he says, put that coffee down, coffee's for closers, Alec Baldwin literally cuts the nuts off of Jack Lemmon. It is a chilling thing to watch, but as a closer, you will respect what these hardcore closers are all about. And you will understand that they all came before you and before me. The beautiful thing about sales is you absolutely, positively do not need to recreate the wheel. All you need to do is join the crew, watch these webinars, and copy what we're doing. I have sales reps that are absolute idiots. I tell them that they are idiots every day, and they are out there closing 1, 2, 3, 4 sales in a week. This is automatic. It is not rocket science. There is no mystery to it. Go back, watch the sales presentation webinar that we did that's on the website. Email me, ask me for my sales presentation if you don't already have one. Mine is not the best. Hell, I've already made 3. If you ask me for mine, I'm going to send you the last 2 that we've used. I don't care what presentation you use. What I do care is you've got a business card, you've got a flyer, you have a free demo app, you close, you have everything branded, and you do what you say you're going to do. You go out there and see enough people on a weekly basis that you can actually get good at it, because if you only make 1 presentation this week and 1 presentation 2 weeks from now, you're never going to get good at it. So if you don't have time because you're too radical to have time, because you're working 2 other jobs, so you don't have time, then you need to hire people that do have time. If you're too lazy, if you're too afraid, and that is a human emotion to have fear, if you are too afraid to go out there into the business community and square off against a business owner and ask them for a check for $750 and ask them for a credit card and tell them you want it now, if you are too afraid to do it, then watch this movie, watch these webinars, hire someone that's not too afraid, give them a business card, give them a flyer, give them a pitch book that they can have on their iPad. Make sure that you're available. Make sure that when your sales reps go on a sales call, that they text you when they're walking in the door and text you when they're walking out of the door. And make sure that they never, ever leave a sales call with questions that were unanswered. You don't leave the sales call. My God, I had an idiot salesperson. The guy went on a sales call, left the sales call, called me 3 days later. Hey, Ken, I was on this sales call. I had these 3 questions that the guy asked. Okay, why didn't you call me while you were sitting there with the customer? Oh, well, I don't know. I see that guy all the time, so I knew I could just get the questions answered, and I could come back. Guess what? I gave the guy the answers to the questions. He was never, ever, ever, ever available to get back in front of that customer. Folks, if you go to McDonald's anywhere on the planet and order a Big Mac, you are going to get exactly the same thing every single time. Do you want to say it with me? 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, on a bun. That's right, on a sesame seed bun. You take those sesame seeds off of that bun, you no longer have a Big Mac. Folks, they have a formula. They have a freaking formula. They don't make a good hamburger. They make the same hamburger over and over and over and over again. That is what I do in my business. We have a free demo call script. We say the same thing every time. We walk through the doors of businesses saying the same thing. We make every one of them a demo. We give them a business card and a flyer. Every one. We come back for our presentation with a pitch book and a demo app and other apps that we can show. And then we close. We show our flexibility for pricing. whether we have to space the pricing out, whether we have to bring the pricing down. We do all of those things every single time. And because we do, it makes this into a numbers game. And as long as this is a numbers game, I know I can feed my family if I simply have me and or other sales reps walk through the door of local businesses. Again, it's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. It's not a surprise. Oh, Ken, I'm not making any sales. How many no's did you get? Well, none. Well, then your problem is not that you're not making sales. The problem is you're not asking anybody to buy. Why aren't you asking anybody to buy? Because you're not giving out any free demo apps. Why aren't you giving out any free demo apps? Because you're not reading that free demo call script. You're not walking through those doors. I know for a fact, if you are reading the free demo call script and you are walking through those doors and you are asking for the sale and you are calling and asking for help, I know for a fact you are making money in this business. You're making residuals. It's the greatest business I've ever seen. It's the best thing I've ever seen to sell. I don't want to do anything else. I'm not doing anything else. I can make as much money as I want to make in this business. If I want to make an extra $100 a month, I can do it in this business. If I want to make an extra $1,000 a month, I can do it in this business. If I want to make an extra 10 grand, an extra $15,000, I can do it. You know why people don't make $100,000 a year in this country? A lot of people don't have an opportunity, but you know what? A lot of people do. Of that group of a lot of people that do, most of those people are not willing to work hard enough to make it happen. Folks, this is very, very simple. All you got to do is go out and do it. That's it. All right. Thanks for spending this time with me today. This has been a lot of fun. Of course, this is recorded. If it was me, I realize that if you act enthusiastic, then you'll be enthusiastic. I realize that you are who you associate with. So if you want to be successful, then associate with successful people. What that means is email support. Call into support. Watch these webinars. Ask these questions. Send emails. Make phone calls. Do it. Watch Andrew's videos. Watch the BA videos. Bathe in this stuff, people. Bathe in it. If you watch this presentation today 10 times, I guarantee you are going to pull out different information each of those 10 times. Go watch those movies. Boiler Room, Glengarry Glen Ross. There's a couple other sales movies. I think every time we do one of these webinars, we will make it a task to introduce a movie or something like that that you should watch that's going to benefit you in that regard. Folks, again, as you get educated, what's going to happen is it's going to build your confidence. I'm a flipping expert in this industry only because I've watched more videos than you. I've sent more emails asking more questions than you. I've looked at more competitor apps than you. But you know what? The race is not over. It's just begun, and literally you can too. If you haven't already, sign up for the crew today. You can do so on our website where we're going to have all this stuff. How's Help Me Sell Apps or Help You Sell Apps or whatever the heck it is. That's where you found this, so you know what it is already. Next week's webinar topics, we're going to talk about making a customer for life. I think it's pretty neat. I've got some customers that I've had that have signed up and then they canceled. Who cares? They paid their upfront money, so thanks for the $1,500. They had it for a year. Thanks for that $100 a month for the year. So that's $1,500. $100 a month is $1,200. Thanks for the $2,700. Have a nice rest of your life. But we're in this business. Even though we recognize we're going to have some of those folks, we're in this business to have customers for life. So we're going to talk about how you can do that. And one way I know is by helping your customers to promote their apps, because customers that have got 1,000 or 2,000 people that have downloaded their app literally do not turn their apps off. We're going to talk about how the email photo tab and the tell a friend tab can literally help you close a deal. It is amazing. Okay, that is it. I'm going to end this recording right now. Please go. We went longer than I had anticipated. If your fathers have